lot better?
Yeah.
A lot better? Okay. I am the uncle of Officer Grant. Oscar's mother, Wanda, is my baby sister. And Oscar was my very first nephew. How many of you actually know who Oscar Grant is first? Raise your hand. Pretty much the whole room. How many of you actually seen the movie Fruitvale Station? At least over half the room. So for those who haven't seen the movie Fruitvale Station, it takes you an opportunity to spend a day with Oscar in his life and to share with the world our love for Oscar, who he was to us and what he meant to us, and his relationship with his daughter, you know, of course his grandmother, my mother, his mama, you know, and his experiences, the trials and tribulations and, you know, experiences that he went through to that point of what happened on January 1st, 2009 at the Fruitvale Station. So I must say, before I speak, I always share this thank you, because see, it was the community that embraced us, that stood with us, that cried with us, went back and forth to court with us. I mean, and utilized their very First Amendment right to speak to the very injustice of what they saw happen to Oscar. It was that community that did that, and for the first time in California state history, an officer was arrested, charged, convicted, and sent to jail. That's historic. That is historic. We don't count it as a victory. Yes, thank you. You know, and we try to say it's historic because for us, a victory is that since the murder of Oscar, many young men, children, teenagers would still be living today had it really been a victory. You hear what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so it is very painful for us to really still witness this over and over and over. So we're clear it's historic, but not yet a victory. Where the victory is going to come, and we know it can't come, is like people like yourself sitting in this room, allowing this conversation to take place, but more so beginning to take this conversation out this room into the world to bring about that real systemic change. That's when we know we will have the victory. So this conversation is needed today. It is critical because the very foundation of this country, as we know, is hemorrhaging on the issue concerning accountability, transparency, and of course, Black Lives Matter. You know, and so we have to be clear about that, and we all have a commitment, an obligation, not just to ourselves, because this is not about me, and it's really not even about you. It is about this generation that's coming behind us. It's about, as I can see some of you got grandchildren like I do, but it's also about those that I've seen much younger, about your babies that's coming into this world. So it's critical that you understand that your failure to take the stand now will be their demise. Because if we think it's bad now, think about how their life will be if we don't take this stance to bring about real freedom, justice, and equality to all. We have a commitment to our children, to our grandchildren. So let us always remember that, so that as we go forward, we're going forward with their name. And we have a saying that my wife will share later that that we do everywhere we go, to always remember it's not about us, it's about these children.
It's always.
Well, she's interjecting, so I'm going to do it her way. She normally will say, close your eyes. Would you say, lean your head back and just think. Now, we're going to say this 3 times. It's always about the children. 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 And for all the men in here, you know, that what's that saying? A happy wife, a happy life? So, and she will interject and she will correct me, and, you know, she'll keep me on point. Sometimes I can talk too long, and sometimes I can miss the points that people may ask, you know, in order to give a good response. So, you know, and much love to my wife, because she has allowed me to be shared with the world. You know, we don't just speak here in the Bay Area. We're called all over this country, this world. And this was so important. I'll tell you what happened. My wife auntie passed, and so we was committed to go to the funeral yesterday, which is in Bakersfield. So we was blessed that it was happened to be in the state of California. But even if it had not been in the state of California, we would have went to the funeral, and then we would have got back here to make sure we did this. But my weekend went like this, before I get into what we're going to talk about. Friday night or Friday evening, we drove to Bakersfield. We got up at 8 o'clock to be at the funeral at 9 o'clock. We did the funeral. About 4:30, I got on the train and came back to the Bay Area. Got here about 11:30, got up at 5:30 to meet my son at the West Oakland B.A.R.T station so we could run the Beta Breaker. Now my wife is still in Bakersfield. So she's enjoying family. I'm struggling through the day. Now I'm in the Beta Breakers and I'm going through that. You know, but we had a good time. You know, just the father-son thing that we did today. You know, and I used to take him when he was really young. Now he's getting me back. So we had a good time. And then, of course, stopped by to see my mother, made it home. My wife finally got home. And then we had to turn around and get changed and dressed and ready to come here. You know, because we know that these type of events is very important. And I do whatever I can not to miss. So sometimes it requires us to do a whole lot before we get here. And so I'm just sharing that even though we've done a whole lot, this is the most important aspect of our weekend, is sharing these words with you, spending the time with you. Because the elephant is in the room. You know, when we talk about what white supremacy is, when we talk about racism, when we talk about police terrorism or police violence, you know, we talk about the issues that we see with young men being killed all over this country, right? Or children being killed all over this country. It should bring us to a halt. And we should be able to feel that type of pain. I had a video here that I wanted to share.
While you're waiting for the part, maybe you could ask some who have watched the movie, some of their views about it, conversate about it.
Good points. You know, I'll get back to the video. But my wife did make a good point. And right now on B&T, they've been showing Fruitvale Station for the last, week?
All weekend.
All weekend. And so, B.A.T, right. It's, B.A.T is a television station that shows showing black movies. So for those who haven't seen Fruitvale Station, you can actually see it on B.A.T tonight. Or Netflix, you know, you can get it somewhere, you know. So, and pretty much the majority of the room actually saw Fruitvale Station. She does that a lot. So she asked the question, well, anyone have questions about it or can make a statement? Yes.
It's an amazing movie, even though when you watch it, you're dreading the end.
Right.
It's one of those movies, if it's not a great movie, you don't watch it because you already know the end.
Right.
And in this case, it's a different type of dread, but it's amazing, and you just wish the movie would keep going, right, so that the end doesn't come. But it's an amazing movie by a really young director.
Right, Ryan
Kruger.
Right, Ryan Kruger.
Yeah.
He was 22 years old. He was at USC Film School when he actually proposed the idea to us as a family. And many others that came before him, just so that you'll know. But we were nowhere in the middle state. Not just the middle state, but we weren't at that time. But even when we came with some clarity, it became a trust issue. Because a lot of times people take your story and just do what they want with it. But Ryan came with a heart that was totally different. You know, first of all, nobody knew who he was. and he helped us see that this wasn't about sharing the tragic event and going beyond that, but the love that we had for him. And he wanted the world to experience that type of love, because what he saw was that we all can feel that. And so when you watch the movie, you can feel someone in your family that could have been Oscar. So we're thankful to Michael B. Jordan, who played my nephew, because every time we see it, he brings Oscar back to life. So it's really still a hard movie for me to watch. It will be all my life. And Melody Diaz plays Safina really well. You know, Octavia, my sister, yes.
It was very impactful to see the movie at the time, because this was the time before we started picking up all these crimes on cell phones.
Right.
And these types of things did not get out to the public.
Right.
And I just wish we could do a whole lot more in terms of, really getting a story out to the public.
Right.
Because, we got hopeful when we started seeing these cell phone videos being taken.
Yes.
And then it kept going and kept going and kept going. It's now become clear to us, it really hasn't changed anything.
Right.
I hate to be, I hate to be angry about it, but
Right.
it's going nowhere.
Oh, I know. And some of us are becoming numb to it, which we really try not to become numb to someone, witnessing someone be murdered, and then you just go get a pizza and life goes on. We should all feel that pain.
I think that one thing that was super powerful about the movie is how it immortalized Oscar's life and how they showed him at home with his family, how much love his community had for him. Because personally, when I hear people talk about police terror victims, we talk about them in a way in which we're distancing ourselves from them.
Right, exactly.
When I saw the movie afterwards, I literally saw it. And number one reason being that when I see Oscar, I see my own family members.
Right.
I see my brother in that. I see my uncle in that. I see my dad in that. And that's why it's so impactful. That's why it resonates with you so much, because it hits home. And it's no longer talking about Oscar. It's talking about who's next. Like, that could be my brother. That
Right.
could be my dad.
And Orion was right on time, because the hardest person to really receive the movie was my sister, Oscar's mother.
Yeah.
There was a scene, so that you'll know, the movie is like 98, 99% accurate. It's our story.
Even the dog part.
Even the dog part. But what happened, those that seen the movie, and I'm sorry, I'm going to tell those who haven't seen the movie this particular scene, but it's important because there was some fabrication that took place. So, Oscar mother, Octavia.
Some fabrication?
Well, in other words, he did it purposely to make sure that everybody felt Oscar.
Okay.
So, Oscar mother goes to see him while he's in San Quentin. And a big altercation takes place. And Oscar mother gets up, turns her back on her son, and walks away. Right? So, I don't know if you've seen the movie or not, but that's very impactful, right? So, my sister, hold up. My son never talked to me like that. He never disrespected me. I do not like it. And so we sat down and we talked to her about it and said that, but maybe it's the mother out there that had that experience. And so she finally was able to swallow it. So when we started going places with the movie and having these conversations, there would be mothers that would come up to me and say, that scene when I went to see my son in prison happened to me. That was a confirmation. You hear what I'm saying? So though my sister struggled with that part, that helped a lot of mothers to continue to love their son despite their clash in a situation like that. So it was really important that he was able to capture us in all aspects. In other words, Oscar wasn't a total saint that every mother wants their son to be or daughter to be represented as. Because we all have some flaws. We all not just perfect, and so the reality of it was showing Oscar life in that respect. Because he was brought up in the church with the royal ambassadors. He had many mentors. He had uncles, and we spent time with him. But that don't mean he was one way with his friends. He did things I learned that I didn't even know. You know what I'm saying? But that's the reality of what our children, our family members experience that we may not know. They're one way with us, and they're another way with their friend, they're another way with their daughter, they're another way with their mother, and so that's the reality of life. So I'm just saying that piece right there helped us also realize